Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to have a casual chat about one of our favorite topics, traveling.
That's right, Sarah. As you know, we both love exploring new places and experiencing different cultures.
Absolutely. And we thought it would be fun to share some of our travel stories and plans with all of you.
So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and join us for some travel talk.
Part 1, Sharing Travel Stories.
James, do you remember that trip we took to Thailand a few years ago?
Of course, it was an incredible experience. The food, the beaches, the temples, everything was so vibrant and full of life.
I'll never forget our hike to that remote waterfall in the jungle. It was like something out of a dream.
And how about that cooking class we took in Chiang Mai? Learning to make authentic Thai dishes was so much fun.
Definitely a highlight of the trip. But you know what my favorite part was? Exploring the bustling markets and getting lost in the maze of stalls.
Oh, I remember that. We stumbled upon so many hidden gems and tried some amazing street food along the way.
That trip will always hold a special place in my heart. But what about you, James? Any other travel memories that stand out to you?
Well, there was that unforgettable road trip we took along the California coast. Driving along the Pacific Coast Highway with the ocean on one side and towering cliffs on the other, it was breathtaking.
And don't forget about that spontaneous detour we took to Big Sur. Watching the sunset over the rugged coastline was pure magic.
Absolutely. It's moments like those that remind me why I love to travel so much. Exploring new places, trying new things, and making memories that last a lifetime.
Part 2, Dream Destinations and Future Plans.
So, James, where do you dream of traveling to next?
Well, there are so many places I'd love to visit, but one destination that's at the top of my list is Japan. I've always been fascinated by its rich culture, delicious cuisine, and stunning landscapes.
Japan sounds amazing. I've heard that cherry blossom season is especially beautiful there.
Exactly. I can't wait to explore bustling Tokyo, visit ancient temples in Kyoto, and maybe even hike Mount Fuji if I'm feeling adventurous.
Count me in. Japan has been on my bucket list for ages. Maybe we can plan a trip together sometime soon.
That would be incredible. Traveling with friends always makes the experience even more special.
Definitely. And speaking of future plans, do you have any other trips lined up for this year?
Well, I'm thinking of finally crossing off another item on my bucket list, backpacking through Europe. I've always wanted to explore cities like Paris, Rome, and Barcelona.
Wow, that sounds like an epic adventure. I've been to Europe before, but there's still so much more I want to see and experience.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe we'll even discover some new favorite destinations along the way.
Conclusion.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today. We hope you enjoyed our little travel chat and maybe even got inspired to plan your next adventure.
Remember, the world is full of incredible places just waiting to be explored. So get out there, make memories, and embrace the spirit of adventure.
Hey Alex, it's been ages since we caught up. How have you been?
Hey, Sarah, I've been great, thanks. How about you?
I've been good too. Just got back from a trip to Europe, actually.
No way, that sounds amazing. Where did you go?
Well, I started off in Paris, then traveled to Barcelona, Rome, and ended my trip in Amsterdam.
Wow, that's quite the itinerary. What was your favorite part?
Oh, it's so hard to choose. But I think I'd have to say Rome. The history and architecture there were just breathtaking.
I can imagine. Did you visit the Colosseum?
Of course. It was incredible standing inside such a historic landmark.
I'm so jealous. I've always wanted to visit Rome. Maybe I'll plan a trip there soon.
You definitely should. And if you need any tips or recommendations, just let me know.
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. So, any plans for your next adventure?
Actually, I'm thinking of exploring Southeast Asia next. I've heard so many great things about Thailand and Vietnam.
That sounds incredible. Southeast Asia is definitely on my bucket list, too.
We should totally plan a trip together sometime.
I'm down for that. It would be so much fun exploring new places with you.
Absolutely. All right, enough about me. What about you? Any recent travels?
Well, I just got back from a hiking trip to Patagonia.
No way. That sounds like such an adventure.
It was amazing. The landscapes were unlike anything I've ever seen before.
I bet. Did you do any treks or hikes while you were there?
Yeah, I did the W Trek in Torres del Paine National Park. It was challenging, but so worth it for the views.
That's awesome. I've heard the scenery in Patagonia is absolutely stunning.
It really is. It's like something out of a postcard.
I'll definitely have to add it to my travel bucket list. So, what's next for you?
I'm thinking of doing a road trip across the United States next summer.
That sounds like so much fun. Any specific places you want to visit?
I'd love to see the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, and maybe even drive along the Pacific Coast Highway.
That sounds like an epic adventure. Count me in if you need a road trip, buddy.
Absolutely, the more the merrier.
All right, let's start planning then. I can't wait for our next adventure together.
Me too. It's going to be epic.
You know, Alex, one thing I've realized from all my travels is how much they've broadened my perspective on life.
Oh, definitely. Traveling opens your eyes to different cultures, traditions, and ways of life.
Exactly. It's made me more grateful for what I have and more empathetic towards others.
I couldn't agree more. There's something about immersing yourself in a different culture that really changes you for the better.
Totally. And it's not just about seeing famous landmarks or taking Instagram-worthy photos. It's about the people you meet along the way and the connections you make.
Absolutely. Some of my best travel memories are from the friendships I've formed with locals and fellow travelers.
Same here. It's those unexpected encounters and moments of spontaneity that make traveling so special.
Definitely. And it's amazing how travel has the power to bring people from different backgrounds and walks of life together.
For sure. It's like we're all part of this global community, bound together by our shared love for exploration and adventure.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And you know what's even better? The memories we create while traveling will stay with us forever.
Absolutely. They say that travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer, and I couldn't agree more.
Well said, Sarah. Here's to many more adventures and unforgettable memories together.
Cheers to that, Alex. Let's make every moment count and continue to explore this beautiful world we live in.
You got it. Adventure awaits, my friend.
Questions about various aspects of traveling?
What's your dream travel destination?
Dream travel destination. My dream destination is Japan. I've always been fascinated by its rich culture, delicious cuisine, and beautiful landscapes.
Have you ever traveled solo? If so, where did you go and how was the experience?
Solo travel experience. Yes, I traveled solo to Thailand last year. It was an incredible experience exploring the bustling markets of Bangkok and relaxing on the pristine beaches of Phuket.
What's the most adventurous activity you've done while traveling?
Most adventurous activity. Skydiving in New Zealand was definitely the most adventurous thing I've done while traveling. The adrenaline rush and the breathtaking views were unforgettable.
How do you usually plan your trips?
Trip planning. I usually plan my trips meticulously, researching attractions, accommodations, and local transportation options in advance to make the most of my time.
Do you prefer traveling to cities or nature destinations?
City versus nature destinations. I enjoy both, but I lean towards nature destinations. There's something so rejuvenating about being surrounded by mountains, forests, or beaches.
What's the best souvenir you've brought back from a trip?
Best souvenir. A handcrafted wooden mask from Bali is my favorite souvenir. It's a beautiful piece of art that reminds me of the vibrant culture of Indonesia.
What's your favorite mode of transportation while traveling?
Favorite mode of transportation. I love exploring cities on foot, but when it comes to longer distances, nothing beats the convenience of trains. They offer a scenic journey and a chance to mingle with locals.
Have you ever experienced culture shock while traveling? Where and how?
Culture shock. I experienced culture shock in India, particularly in Delhi, where the hustle and bustle of the city and the stark contrast between wealth and poverty were overwhelming at first.
What's your favorite travel memory?
Favorite travel memory. Watching the sunrise over the temples of Bagan in Myanmar with hot air balloons dotting the sky was a magical moment I'll never forget.
Do you prefer to stay in hotels, hostels, or Airbnb accommodations?
Accommodation preference. I enjoy the comfort and amenities of hotels, but I also appreciate the social atmosphere of hostels, especially when traveling solo.
What's the worst travel mishap you've experienced?
Worst travel mishap? Missing a connecting flight in Istanbul and being stranded at the airport overnight was definitely a stressful experience.
How do you deal with jet lag when traveling across time zones?
Jet lag management. I try to adjust my sleep schedule a few days before the trip and stay hydrated during the flight to minimize jet lag. Hey Sarah, how do you stay safe while traveling, especially in unfamiliar places?
Hey Alex, safety is definitely a top priority for me. I always research about the destination beforehand, stick to well-lit and populated areas, and keep my belongings secure. What about you?
I do pretty much the same. I also make sure to have emergency contacts saved and stay updated on local customs and laws to avoid any misunderstandings.
Do you prefer traveling during peak seasons or off seasons?
I tend to lean towards off seasons. It's less crowded, more affordable, and you get a more authentic experience without the tourist rush. How about you?
Same here. Plus, you can often find better deals on accommodations and activities.
What's your go-to method for budgeting during trips?
I usually set a daily budget and stick to it as much as possible. I also use apps to track expenses and look for affordable options for accommodations and transportation.
That sounds like a good plan. I try to do the same. It's all about finding the right balance between enjoying experiences and managing expenses.
What's the most breathtaking view you've seen while traveling?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think it has to be the sunset over the Grand Canyon. It was absolutely stunning. What about you?
For me, it was the panoramic view of the Swiss Alps from the top of Mount Pilatus. It felt like being on top of the world.
How do you navigate language barriers when traveling in foreign countries?
I usually try to learn some basic phrases in the local language before I go, and if that fails, gesture and Google Translate become my best friends.
Ha ha ha, same here. It's amazing how much you can communicate with just a smile and some hand gestures.
Have you ever experienced a memorable encounter with locals while traveling?
Oh, plenty! One that stands out is when I was in Japan and a local family invited me to join them for a traditional tea ceremony. It was such a heartwarming experience.
That sounds amazing. I love those unexpected connections with locals while traveling. It really adds depth to the experience.
What's your favorite travel destination for photography?
Definitely Iceland. The landscapes there are like something out of a fairy tale, and every corner seems picture perfect. How about you?
I have to agree with you on that one. Iceland is a photographer's dream. The northern lights alone are worth the trip.
Do you prefer guided tours or exploring on your own?
It depends on the destination and my mood. Sometimes I enjoy the convenience and insights of guided tours, but other times I love the freedom and spontaneity of exploring on my own. What about you?
I'm pretty much the same. It's nice to have a mix of both for different experiences.
What's the most surprising thing you've learned about a culture while traveling?
When I was in Thailand, I learned about the significance of the Y, the traditional Thai greeting. It's not just a gesture, it reflects Thai values of respect and humility.
That's fascinating! It's those little cultural nuances that make traveling so enriching.
How do you choose your next travel destination?
I usually have a bucket list of places I want to visit, and I prioritize based on factors like budget, time of year, and personal interests. Sometimes it's also spontaneous, like finding a great deal on flights to a destination I hadn't considered before.
Same here. Flexibility is key, especially when you stumble upon unexpected opportunities.
Have you ever traveled for volunteer work or charity projects? If so, where?
Yes, I volunteered in Peru for a few weeks, helping to build houses in rural communities. It was such a rewarding experience.
That sounds incredibly meaningful. Volunteering abroad is a fantastic way to make a positive impact while also immersing yourself in a different culture.
What's your favorite travel destination for outdoor activities?
I'd have to say New Zealand. The landscapes are so diverse, from mountains to beaches to forests, offering endless opportunities for hiking, kayaking, and adventure sports.
New Zealand is high on my list for outdoor adventures. The scenery there looks absolutely breathtaking.
Do you have a favorite travel app or website that you use often?
I love using TripAdvisor for reviews and recommendations from fellow travelers. It's always helpful to hear about other people's experiences before making plans.
TripAdvisor is a lifesaver, especially when it comes to finding hidden gems and avoiding tourist traps.
What's the longest trip you've ever taken?
I did a backpacking trip across Europe for 3 months after graduating from college. It was such an incredible journey, exploring different cultures and making lifelong memories.
Wow, 3 months! That must have been an amazing adventure. Backpacking through Europe is a classic travel dream for so many people.
How do you handle travel anxiety if you experience it?
Deep breathing exercises, meditation, and reminding myself that it's okay to step out of my comfort zone usually help. Also, having a flexible itinerary eases the pressure of sticking to a rigid schedule.
That's great advice. Traveling can be exhilarating but also overwhelming at times, so it's important to take care of your mental well-being.
Have you ever traveled to a destination primarily for its historical significance?
Yes, I visited Rome specifically to explore its ancient ruins and historical landmarks like the Colosseum and the Roman Forum. It was like stepping back in time.
Rome is definitely a treasure trove of history. Walking through those ancient ruins must have been an incredible experience.
What's your favorite travel destination for nightlife?
I had an unforgettable night out in Barcelona. The city comes alive after dark, with vibrant street performances, lively bars, and clubs that stay open until the early hours of the morning.
Barcelona is legendary for its nightlife scene. It's a city that knows how to party.